The Modern Showcase has finished. And first place went to Belcher. But who cares about first place? Because second place was Merfolk. Oh, yes. I gotta find out exactly how to pronounce this name. Tulio, I'm guessing Wadi, got second place with Merfolk. And by the way, this guy's on a tear. He's already gotten like 1,000,500 in leagues. Leagues are not the biggest definition of whether a deck is the real deal, but in the Modern Showcase Challenge against all the really good players who've been crushing preliminaries and modern challenges, they've got the points to go all the way to second place. This deck is now the real deal, and I will most definitely play. I'll just play this exact 75 in Vegas. There's a lot of really unique decisions, like Archmage's Charm, which makes you sacrifice Cavern of Souls, which makes you sacrifice Mutavault. Cards I really love, which made me very apprehensive about this card. But I mean, the results speak for themselves. I'm just gonna have to live with it and learn it. So we got 2 Benthic Biomancer and 4 Tide Shaper, Glasspool Mimics, Harbinger of the Tides. Another unique change to this list, 2 Lord of Atlantis, so only 6 Island Walk Lords. And truth be told, if you go down to 8 Island Walk Lords, is that the limit? Like, why aren't you playing more Lords? Why aren't you playing Mara Regere? And the reason is you might not want to be playing with Lords. Maybe you don't need that Island Walk nearly as much. And I have said myself, like, I'm not even that interested in going, like, the old Lord strategy because we have to a large extent, interact with the opponent. If you're not interacting with things like Merfolk Trickster and Harbinger of the Tides, you're really going to get tempoed out in this metagame. So, I mean, it's not about pushing a lot of power, it's about interaction. And another very unique choice in this list is Subtlety. Flash Flying, whenever Subtlety enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature spell or planeswalker spell its owner puts on the top or bottom of their library. So it's like an Ether Gust, which is very, very important. After Modern Horizons 2 came out, I thought this thing bounced a creature to their hand, but putting it on top of their library, really, really important. Why? Because of Solitude and Fury. So Solitude, Solitude backed up by Ephemerate is backbreaking against us, but if we Subtlety it and it gets put back on top of their library, that's a huge game changer. So they lost a card. I mean, we lost 2 cards, I guess, but they lost a card and the Solitude goes on top of their library, and maybe that is enough time for us to close out the game. So this is a really big, perhaps a big game changer in the meta game right now, and also interacts just as well against Fury, which is also another really huge pain that we see in we're seeing a lot of these elemental soup decks. Fury, Solitude, Omnath are all coming up. So, great piece attack right now, right now. Mana base, 12 Island, a Manamo, an Oboro, 4 Waterlog Grove. Also, I guess it's important, you can pitch your Glasspool Mimic to the Subtlety. So, a part of your mana base, Glasspool Mimic is, and it can be pitched to Subtlety. Now, some unique choices for counterspells. Force Negation is, part of our... It's pretty normal. Miscast. We have Miscast in the sideboard. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1. Like, it's a crappier dispel, but it can hit sorceries, which is useful, especially against burn. You know what? A lot of people are asking, why not Flusterstorm? I actually played with Flusterstorm quite a bit. The problem with Flusterstorm is that it's usually a bad Spell Pierce. Very, very, very often, you're only going to be playing, you're only going to get tax your opponent by 2. So if you're taxing your opponent by 2, like I would say 90% of the time with Flusterstorm, the other 10% of the time will be against the Cascade decks where they play like Violent Outburst, Living End, then you Flusterstorm, you get a Flusterstorm for 3. Outside of those situations, Flusterstorm just taxes for 2. So Miscast just technically might be better, especially against Burn. Burn will have 2 mana up very often, but they won't have 3 mana up very often. Relic of Progenitus, Thieving Skydiver, specifically for the Hammer Time deck, I guess if you're randomly up against in the Merfolk Mirror. And you might be able, like, I don't know what Tulio's sideboarding plan is, but I could see bringing in some Thieving Skydivers when I take out Aether Vial against attrition-based decks like Ragavan Shadow decks and stuff like that. Grafdigger's Cage, probably for the Yawgmoth matchup. among other decks. Mystical Dispute and Tempted by the Tempted by the Auric. So for each opponent, gain control of up to one target creature or planeswalker that player controls with mana value 3 or less. There used to be 4 of these in the sideboard, or 3 or 4. There used to be a lot, so the number of these have gone down by a lot. I'm not very impressed by this card just based on how expensive it is, but the idea is to steal your opponent's Lurrus. So they go get Lurrus, they play Lurrus, then you tempt the Lurrus and you control it yourself. Any word from Tulio how to pilot this build? None. Nothing. Nothing at all. Would Subtlety be playable in Spirits as well? Maybe. Maybe. Probably. Maybe, probably. Try it out. I want to see that Belcher list. Oh, let's go check out Belcher. Look, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know what is a stock Belcher list. So we have a bunch of lands that also act as spells. Reforge the Soul. Recross the Paths, but then we have Instant, Desperate Ritual, Manamorphose, Pact of Negation, Pact of the Titan, Pyretic Ritual, Spike Field, Hazard, Valakut Awakening, Fort Goblin, Charm Melcher. Ooh, a Pyromancer Ascension. I don't actually recognize that particular choice. We have Blood Moon, Fury, Leyline of Sanctity, 3 Veil of Summer. That's interesting. No more Anger. I swear there's Anger of the Gods in this deck before, but I guess Fury is just better because you don't have to spend any manas. No manas. Why not Mana Leak? That's 2 mana. That's real. You know, it's hard to hold up 2 mana against a very wide variety of decks. Like, even Counterspell can be clunky. This is now, this has a clunkier, like, Counterspell suite. I mean, Archmage's Charm is 3 mana. He did put in some free mana spells. In the past, he didn't. In his newer version of the deck, he's got 2 Force Negation, but in past versions, there were no Force Negations whatsoever, and he was just trying to rely on Spell Pierce and Miscast. Don't you need to get in some games to really pilot this different build well? Yes! Which I don't have, but you know what? I'm just gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. I'm gonna get in as much whatever playtesting I can between Tuesday and Wednesday, and then that's it. That's it. We're gonna have to pray for the best from there. Anyway, welcome to Coffee and MTG, everyone. This is Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning. Morning show where we discuss all things Magic, and we also discuss sponsors. Because that's the type of show we got. Today's sponsor, FusionGamingOnline.com. No different from any other day. But the deal of the week, still this week, this is probably your last day to get in on this deal. Save up to 15% off all HP and damaged MTG singles. So, and it doesn't matter if it's reserve list or not, or if it's the hot modern staple. If you're willing to buy something that's been through the dryer, chewed up by a dog, been scratched up for years with no sleeve, you get 15% off at FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout, because it gives you another 5% off on top of the 15% off. Why would you want to leave money on the table? And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. Thanks to them, I could rent Archmage's Charm over and over again without actually having to commit to buy it. And now that I know that it's probably going to be a Merfolk staple, I might end up having to buy it. But until then, I can just keep renting it with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu. Got to risk it? Well, I don't need to risk it. I mean, I know the deck is solid. I'm just going to have to do my best. Seems like Click might be well with this list. Not in a world of Wrenn and 6. You know, every single time I look at a creature, I'm like, can it defeat Wrenn and 6? No? Okay. Does it have like a really good purpose? At least I could play Brazen Borrower because I had the Petty Theft on it. Petty Theft was great. I also don't know if Click really would be that good right now. Yeah, no Mutavault. Well, you can't play Mutavault in a list with Archmage's Charm. It's triple blue. It's way too blue heavy. This list might. No guarantees. Might be able to play like 1 Mutavault, 1 Cavern of Souls, but like, I doubt it. Keep that Archmage's Charm as consistent as possible. Do not play any of those non-blue lands. Good morning, Aztec guy. Oh yeah, we should say good mornings. Good morning, Matt Wazix. I don't know how long the Coffee and MTG is going to be today. So far, I don't hear anyone working in the building, but at any moment, people are going to like knock on our door to renovate and like replace our air conditioner. in the middle of winter. I guess it's not technically winter, but it feels like winter outside. In Canada, it feels like winter. Good morning, Trevor. Good morning, Kaya. All for last. Good morning, Mikey J, James Mareep, Steven Ventrick, Nintendo64. I love it. Irwin, your hair is fine. Yes, I had to get a haircut for GP Vegas. Sorry, keep calling it GP Vegas. It feels like I'm going to a GP. It's not GP Vegas. Do not sue Channel Fireball for for making it feel like it's a GP. The Amazing Wally, MTG Ectoplasm, good morning, Spencer Ward. Yes, only 2 Lord of Atlantis. 2 Lord of Atlantis. And you know, it's funny, M. Hayashi just did away with Lord of Atlantis completely. He's like, oh, we don't need this card. And actually, he's like completely done away with all the Merfolk in the deck as well. Which is also funny. It's like, we don't need Merfolk. Anyway, you guys know the deal. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all the comments I'm getting on all my social media channels. All 2 of them at the moment. I don't think you can comment on Twitter live. I think you can just watch it live, but I don't think you can comment on it live. So for everyone on Twitter, hey, welcome to Coffee and MTG. Although you want to be part of the action, you can go to Facebook or Nikachu MTG Streams, the YouTube channel. And if you're on the YouTube channel, you can donate with super chats and your question gets pushed to the top of my feed. Do you need to borrow a play set for Las Vegas? I got everything. Oh, no, sorry. You know what? There's actually one card. It's actually one card I don't have. I don't have a second Mist Cast. So I'll be bringing like Spell Pierce or probably bring Dispel, to be honest. Oh no, but I probably need to bring Spell Pierce because I need that action versus Living End in the Crashing Footfall deck. You know, I was losing to Crashing Footfall. Now I realize it's probably because I've gone so interactive with my own lists, like less on the Lords. Because if I'm heavy on Lords, then I should have an easier time versus the Crashing Footfall deck. Just lord them out. Lord them out! How's your matchup versus Spirits/Humans? You know, my matchup versus Spirits got a lot worse. It depends how many Lords I have. If I'm higher on Lords, I have a much better chance. Like, I'll feel favored if I'm just playing with just Lord City. But if I'm playing with, like this deck, for example, that's much more interactive, bouncing anything in the Humans deck or the Spirits deck is a disaster. And I will also just say I think I'm just a dog versus Spirits these days. Because of Skyclave Apparition. Skyclave Apparition is just the ultimate tempo card. It's just backbreaking. They enter the battlefield, just exile the best thing that you have. Undermine your mana, undermine your board. No, it's awful. Do you think Hollowed Haunting is better than Sigil of the Empty Throne? I have not a clue. Hollowed Haunting. Are these comparable cards? 4 mana. As long as you control 7 or more enchantments, creatures you control have flying and vigilance. If you cast an enchantment spell, create a white spirit creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of spirits you control. This looks pretty good. Sigil of the Empty. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, create a 4/4 white angel creature token. You know what? I would say yes. That mana is everything. You know, to be able to cast something at 4 mana instead of 5 mana is like, if you're talking about modern, this is everything. And you get some extra bonus that if you have enough enchantments, your creatures gain flying and vigilance. I do think Hollowed Haunting is better. Cryptic Command? Cryptic Command is a great card. That's right, Winter Peg. Do you think burn decks want Goblin Guide anymore? Yes. Because they need some small, fast creature. I mean, they could experiment without it, but generally burn is burn because every card that they play almost immediately deals damage to the opponent. I think the only exception to that rule was like Wild Nacatl back in the day. They used to play with Wild Nacatl as a 1-drop 3/3 creature, which is pretty good for the deck, but that was the only exception. They like in when they're in top deck mode, just top deck that thing. Like what would you play otherwise? Just some random burn spell? Creatureless burn. Maybe it's possible. It's not winter in Alberta yet. It's winter here. We have tons of snow. Pikachu, Mystic Gate can help filter with Mutavault mana in the list. No, it can't! No, it can't. Let's see. This is a misconception. What do I need in Mystic Gate to add the blue? I need another blue or colorless. It's not pay nothing to get blue. It's pay a blue or a white. So it doesn't filter Mutavault mana. If you have a Mutavault in Mystic Gate, you add no colored mana at all. Nothing. So, don't do that. Mystic Gate is a really shitty card. I guess it can see play in some control decks, whatever. Yeah, there's no coverage. That is brutal. That is just brutal. Ugh, that's so bad. Will you do a separate video for deck review? For what? You mean the Merfolk deck? I don't understand. Oh, we do Decklist review on stream live. Right, because Vendilion Click was never bolted on site. Well, it was bolted on site, but I mean, everything dies to bolt. But if I can play around a Ren and 6, why not? Subtlety or Brazen Borrower? We're going to go with Subtlety. This Tulio guy has done very, very well. I think he's got like 6 or 7 5-0s, and then he's got the second place finish. So, I mean, the results are in. And I can shrug off 5-0 results, but I can't shrug off an open like that. Against very strong players, that's a very strong showing. And that's the Modern Showcase Challenge. Will you be putting out any content this weekend from Vegas? I might. So be subscribed to Nikachu MTG News, because that's where it will go if I do put out anything. But you know what? I'll try to. I'll make the effort. I'll make the effort. We be uploading stuff from Vegas. Gonna have the Nikachu coverage. First Doys, in that squirrel list you looked at, I forgot to add the 4 Ravenous Squirrel and -2 Thoughtseize generic stuff in that list. Any thoughts on it? Ravenous Squirrel. To make it more of a squirrel deck? If I remember, that squirrel deck didn't have squirrels in it. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact or creature, put a +1/+1 counter on the squirrel. Sacrifice an artifact or creature, you gain 1 life and draw a card. It's okay. This is a very mana-intensive card. I'm so curious to know what the original squirrels were. Because apparently they playtested squirrels and it was the best deck. It was like the best deck in Modern. And now it's like, you know, it's nothing. Activated, like, making an activated ability this expensive is very rough. I'm not really in love with it, but I mean, it is a good ability. Gaining life and drawing cards. It's not bad, but you do have, sacking a creature is bad. I guess what you can do is you keep the mana open, and then if the opponent tries to do something, you sack it in response. Do you think Delver decks want to play Poppet Stitcher? Oh, for some reason when you said Delver, I just assumed this is a Pauper deck. I'm like, Pauper decks can't play Poppet Stitcher. 3 mana for a 2/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a... No. Here's the question. Did a Pauper deck... At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creatures, you may transform... What's the transform side? At the beginning of your upkeep, you may creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have base power, blah, blah, blah. Did they, Monastery Mentor. Here's the question. Did the Delver decks ever want to play with the... Oh. Always get the E's and A's wrong. Did they ever want to play with Monastery Mentor? Because it's really the same thing. No? Then they don't want to play that card either. It's not bad. Oops. Like, it's not... This card's not bad, but 3 mana for a Delver deck is very expensive. They're trying to operate at like 2 mana at best. And then why aren't they playing with Lurrus? They probably want to play with Lurrus too. If a Lurrus deck wins MTG Vegas, Lurrus will get banned? I don't know. But this will be the first event that might influence bannings. This is probably the first event that's going to influence some bannings. So if there is, like, let's say the top 16 decks are all Lurrus decks. Lurrus is probably going to get banned. So but it depends on the results. Let's see if the cream rises to the top, or is it still going to be diverse? If it's diverse, they're not going to do anything. Raznab, I have miscast if you need it. You live in Winnipeg? You people all live in Winnipeg somehow? Someone said they're bringing miscast for me, so I mean, I have to run around tomorrow because I need to get COVID testing going to to go to Las Vegas. You need to be COVID tested even to get on the plane. So maybe I'll run around to the other local game stores, like what's it called? Like I got the last one from Fusion Gaming Online, but maybe I'll run around to the other ones that are on the way. See if they have any miscasts. Fusion Gaming Online has an online website. There's pros and cons to this. The pros, it's so easy to buy stuff, but the con is it's so easy to buy stuff for everybody else that they can run out of a certain card. So you look at miscast. It's gone. It's out of stock. Everyone else got the miscast. So, you know, one advantage to some local game stores that are not online is that they do have inventory of like really weird niche cards that you might need at the last second. Orphalast, look at his Twitter when you get a chance. He said this isn't the final version, that he made some choices for... Really? I didn't know that. What choices is he making on a budget? Oh, like he couldn't afford force negation or something? Well, that's a good point. Okay, I'll look into that. Thanks for letting me know. I missed that. I know Biomancer is there to be a one-drop, but wouldn't Curse Catcher just be better? It's hard to say. Like, Curse Catcher is okay. Like, Biomancer is, like, fine versus anything because it can loot. But Curse Catcher can be really crappy versus a lot of decks where countering instants and sorceries just don't matter at all. So it's literally just a 1/1 creature with no other upside. As much as I like your streams, there are some tracks you play that get on my nerves. For example, any Banjo-Kazooie track. Sorry, a lot of people love the Banjo-Kazooie. I try to keep it somewhat quiet, though. Like, I want it to be background music. I don't want it to be, like, too dominating. Although, I have to say, I have to get more music. I'll get some Legend of Zelda music and stuff. I'll probably look into that after GP Vegas. Like, I have the system. I gotta find the music, then I upload it to YouTube, then YouTube runs copyright checks on it, and then if YouTube is okay with it, boom, it's part of the system. So I basically like get a bunch of tracks and then make a video out of all the tracks and then upload it to YouTube. And then YouTube tests to see if I'm going to get like copyright strikes. That man's going to get sponsored by the prof big time. Well, only if you win in GP Vegas. Seeing the different videos you post, have you considered doing videos for Decklist reviews instead of an on-stream? If not, would it be a consideration? No, not a chance. It's not even clear to me that Decklist review is a very popular option in general. Like, if we do the stream and we go to Decklist review, 33% of you leave. So I prefer to make videos that more people, the maximum number of people are interested in watching. And if Decklist review is clearly less popular live, then it might not be that popular. And it's hard to incentivize people. Let's fix this elf deck. I don't know. Maybe it is good. Who knows? It's like uncharted territory. To be honest, I have never heard or thought of anyone who's ever made a video on fixing a deck. So maybe it's interesting, but I have no interest in actually doing it. So there's 0% chance it's going to happen. Do you stream on holidays? Thanksgiving is coming. No, correction. Your Thanksgiving is coming. The Canadian Thanksgiving came and passed. So yes, we will be streaming on... Well, when is it? When is the Canadian Thanksgiving? Because I'm okay. Fair warning. There's gonna be no Coffee and MTG this Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday and maybe Tuesday. Definitely not Thursday, Friday, Monday. So if I don't show up, it's because I'm going to Vegas and and then otherwise I'm coming back. Maybe there'll be a Coffee and MTG on Monday. I'll do it on my phone. It's possible. It'll just literally be me talking to all of you, but maybe. Other than that, you might have to wait. I was hoping to see you upstream in the top. Oh yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that, but no, didn't happen. Are you playing any other events? The side events, limited events? I don't plan to yet, but I might. Like, I don't know. It depends, like, how the weekend is going. If millions of people want to talk to me and they want signatures and stuff like that, then I might end up spending all my time. Got to bring all the Sharpies to GP Vegas. Otherwise, I might play in some side events. I will say this. If I scrub out day 1 on Saturday... on Friday... Like, if I don't make day 2, then I'll probably try to grind the side events for the rest of the weekend. Otherworldly Gaze is good with Delver. Otherworldly Gaze. A blue. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put any number of them back on top. Put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest back on top of your library in any order and flashback for a blue and a generic. I actually don't think this card is good in Delver. One thing that made Delver Delver is that all the cantrips replace themselves, but this doesn't. I mean, unless your deck can really get some card advantage out of the graveyard, it's the only way you could justify a card like this. Like, it's good for flipping the Delver, but that's about it. Delver just... If we talk about Modern, Delver has just a lot of problems. You can't protect... I mean, look, hey, first off, you can't protect the creature, okay? You have Force of Will and Daze in Legacy, so there are many ways to protect the Delver. Second off, there's a million removal spells in Modern compared to Legacy, where there's far fewer because it's less... I mean, it's somewhat of a creature. There's creatures in the format, but not really. So there's way less removal spells in Legacy. So, like, if you play a Delver, what's really important in Modern is you play something that's resistant to a lot of removal. Hence why, like, Death Shadow is so good, because it got out of a range of, like, Lightning Bolt and a lot of other burn spells. And now we're seeing, you know, the threats of Solitude and Fury, which are out of range of, like, Fatal Push and Prismatic Ending. So it's really important to have threats that stick and are resistant to removal, and Delver just has no chance in Modern. And then even if it did have a chance, you can barely flip it. You can just barely flip it. There's no tools for flipping the damn thing. So it's Modern is just not a format for Delver. I mean, they even tried it when Dragon Rage Chandler came out, and then they just got rid of the Delver. It's like, what do we need Delver for? It's just the worst card in the deck. And then now we just see these Dragon Rage Chandler decks without Delver of Secrets, because it's not worth it. Even with Dragon Rage Chandler to help flip the Delver, it's not worth it. 3/2 flyer for nothing else. It's pathetic. Where am I on the questions? Standard Delver could play Poppet Stitcher. I think you need to specify the format. Poppet Stitcher isn't Modern playable. I mean, it's Modern. It's Modern playable. Like, do we have Mentor? Do we have Monastery Mentor? I don't think we have Mentor in Modern. Oh, we do. Well, scrap all that. I have not seen this card for so long that I forgot that this is a Modern card. I thought this was like... For a second, I thought this was like one of those Commander deck cards. Wow. The times have really changed. Mentor used to be a real force. If the top 16 are all companion decks, do they ban companions? Probably not. They might look into it, and they'll wait for a few more big open events, but they'll probably not do anything at the moment. What is this? Are you excited for the GP? I wish I was more excited. It is such an awful hassle to for this trip because I need the COVID. I need a COVID test to go to Vegas, and I need a COVID test to come back from Vegas. And you know, taking a COVID test in Vegas requires me to have a car, which I don't have because I'm flying there, which means I have to get an Uber to get this test. So anyway, it's a bit stupid. So it's more annoying and less carefree than I would like it to be. I would like to go to the convention center and then enjoy the magic, but at some point I gotta take some time off to go get COVID tested, get COVID tested early enough before my flight leaves on Monday, so that I can get the test results so I can go back to Canada. And if I don't get those test results in time, then I'm screwed. So it's like those things are making it less exciting, but overall and also it's way pricier than I wanted it to be. But outside of all those downsides, I'm excited for the GP. The GP, so to say. I heard winter begins in Winnipeg. I heard winter in Winnipeg begins early September. No, that's not true. It can begin at the end of October. Well, Flusterstorm might not be better than Miscast. I could replace Miscast with Force Negation. That's possible. Marco, Nikachu, would you play an aggro vampire deck for a white splash for a Legion Lieutenant? And have you good vampires for an aggro vampire modern deck? Greetings from Germany. I have played vampires a few times. Legion. I am willing to splash. I don't know if I'm willing to splash for this one. I have done it before. But to be honest, I've tried white and black vampires. I had more success with black vampires. The mana base is just easier. And it's not clear that, like, the Lord matters in this metagame right now. But, like, you can splash for it. Like, it's not a bad idea. Am I wasting my time buying into a Tron deck? Not at all. You're buying into, like, one of the most powerful decks in the history of Modern. And it's still pretty relevant right now. Can I make some music for you? No thanks. I'm sticking mostly to video game music at the moment. There's one reason people mostly like this video game music, because it's nostalgic. Like, you know, we can all, for the most part, we've played a lot of these games. That's why you like, well, for the most part, you like the music. Some people don't like the Banjo-Kazooie music, but a lot of other people love the Banjo-Kazooie music. Maybe add some Metroid music. Let's have some suspenseful energy. I guess we could try that. But anyway, thanks for the offer. Decklist review is good, but if we are not personally interested in that deck, then there wouldn't be a point to watch it. I don't know. A lot of people like this stuff. You know, there's a lot. I mean, still, like 66% of you stay for Decklist review, so you're interested in seeing someone's new idea. Like, there's a lot of brewers out there. Occasionally, streamers were, you know, picking the best decks from Decklist review and then piloting on stream. I think Spider Space tried something. I know the Chief definitely played an Elf list, and he went 5-0 with it. You guys are innovators. There's some very unique stuff on Decklist review. Papa Joe, do you have any suggestions on how I can practice a new archetype efficiently, especially when it's a different playstyle than I'm used to? Your greatest shortcut is to play the deck a little bit, then watch someone else who's good with the deck play it. Then you go back, play the deck yourself, then go watch someone who plays the deck. So, like, let's say I was trying to learn Storm. I would play the deck a little bit for myself, probably screw up a lot. Then I would go look at Storm players like Caleb Schur. I don't know who's the who else is like a really prominent Storm player at the moment, streaming or making any content. But then watch them, see what they do that I was not doing, and then I go back and I play a little bit myself. Then I go back and then watch them again. So you have your best. You have to some extent mimic the strategy of the people who play that style, because yes, it's very different, and you're probably not going to play it properly the first time. But you got to get in the trenches. You got to get your hands dirty. Then you can sort of feel for your mistakes and know what you do with the deck, and then you can compare it to somebody else and make you pivot and make the corrections from there. Kebby, how has Cozy's Trickster performed in Modern Merfolk? I know that with fetches it can grow. Yeah, it can grow, but not very well. Cozy's Trickster. She is a trickster, isn't she? 1/1. Whenever an opponent shuffles his or her library, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Cozy's Trickster. The card's terrible. So if you play Cozy's Trickster on turn 1, a lot of these abilities are always terrible. Whenever it triggers based on what your opponent does, I don't know, with very few exceptions. There are some exceptions, like what's that artifact now? The 1/white 1/1, the Rhystic Study on a 1-mana creature. That's probably the only exception I can think of. That's actually good enough. But generally speaking, if it depends on your opponent taking some specific action, the card's garbage. So here's what happens. You play Cozy's Trickster on turn 1. So let's say my opponent has a fetch land in play. I play Cozy's Trickster. In response, they'll crack their fetch land. And then also, for the rest of the game, they will not play their fetch lands in their hand. They'll play the non-fetch lands first. Or if they play their fetch lands, they won't crack them immediately. They'll wait until turn 5, 6, or 7 to do it. And at that point, having a larger Cozy's Trickster is useless. Like, I want a big Cozy's Trickster on turn 1, 2, 3, and 4, not 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you want it earlier on in the game, not later. Your opponent has too much control over how big Cozy's Trickster gets, so this card for me gets 2 thumbs down. I've played tested before. I had like a little bit of success in Legacy, but not enough. There's too much control over. The opponent has too much control over this card. Planning on picking up any elemental tokens in Vegas? No, because vendors will never have them. I've tried in the past. Do you have any elemental tokens? Do you have any elemental tokens? Do you have any elemental tokens? And they don't bring that stuff. They don't bring that bulk stuff. They're just bringing high value money cards. Like, there's only so many things that they can take in their boxes. The last thing they want to bring is like tons of tokens for pennies that are difficult for them to sell. So, I mean, if they are somehow available, I will get them, but I don't think they have them. I've tried in the past, like, they just never have them. They'll have every expedition that you could possibly want, but they will not have a single token available for you. I won't be here next week because my parents are visiting to make my life great again. Oh, have a nice family moment. When you started playing Modern Merfolk, who was your guru? The one that you followed for info to learn from? Peter Sohrik, sorry. There he is. There's the handsome devil. And he's like won many Grand Prix. So this was a guy who won with Merfolk at the Pro Tour level. And then so he's like giving advice on MTG Salvation. Like, I was really lucky to join MTG Salvation at the same time that he did. Otherwise, I would never have seen his posts. So he's the only person at a Pro Tour level giving advice. And he had a radically different opinion about Merfolk. Like, everyone is just dirtling around, no one's winning. But this guy is winning at a Pro Tour level. And they were disagreeing with him. It's like, that's not how you play Merfolk. Like, what's with your list? Your list is ridiculous. And, but anyway, I reached out to him because, like, you don't argue with the pros. You don't argue with people who are good at the game and are winning at a competitive level. What you have to do is you got to understand, like, why they made their deck their deck. And he didn't give me a whole lot of advice, but he did give me advice. He gave me some very useful sideboarding advice and some strategies for Twin at the time. So, and he helped me a lot. And I just followed his lists until he abandoned Merfolk. Then I was fucked. Then I was on my own. And then I made my own lists, and they worked. And then the rest is history. I was on MTG Salvation with you guys. What replaced it, though? The Discord and Reddit replaced it. I would say the Discord's probably the most active place you can go for Merfolk content. Monastery Mentor is still amazing in Vintage. Well, Vintage is a completely different breed of a format. No excitement because no coverage? No coverage is a big beating to me, honestly. I might have thought twice about coming to GP Vegas. Like, if there's no coverage, then, like, there's no chance at glory, in my opinion. Like, I don't need to be there. But whatever, I haven't played in a big open event in, like, 2 years. And I like to play competitive Magic. But generally, I would also like there to be some coverage. Tell like it is. GP is only annoying because you're Canadian. Yes, that's right. Oh, sorry, I don't know what I said. I am vaccinated. I am vaccinated, but you're not. You're still not allowed to go on the plane. You're not allowed. There are now 2 rules. You actually you need to be vaccinated to travel to the United States, and you need to have a COVID test. I hope I didn't say COVID shot because I have all my shots. I've been shot a million times. Spencer Ward, is Murmuring Mystic a viable option for Pyromancer decks in Modern? Dodges a lot of common removal, and the tokens have evasion. What the hell is this? Murmuring Mystic. This is very expensive. So, like, you're probably gonna have to burn some rituals just to get this thing out and play. And it's quite slow. It dodges what? Just Bolt? It dodges Bolt and Ren and 6. And then Prismatic Ending. I don't know, maybe it's an okay sideboard card. But, like, there's a lot of enchantments that you can play for, like, 3 mana. Like, what is it? Flame of Aria? Oh, something of Aria. Aria Flame. Like, this is a win condition by itself. And way harder to remove. Well, maybe... I guess it dodges all removal except Prismatic Ending. Prismatic Ending for 3 is pretty easy. Are people still calling for Urza's Saga to be banned? Doesn't seem as much of a problem as it initially did. No, it does not seem to be as big of a problem, but I think all we need is one good artifact deck to come up and they'll ban that damn card. And by the way, it is good. Like, it's doing really well in the Hammer Time deck. Hammer Time is like... How many Hammer Times actually showed up? 1 hammer in the top. Look, these are all Saga decks. Like, even the Jund... When Jund plays this Saga, that says something. There's actually not that much Hammer Time up here. 2 mono green Trons. A mono red Eldrazi deck. Not as many hammers as I thought there would be. Hammer. There is still quite a bit. It's got good representation, but less than I thought. But, like, Hammer Time is really abusing the stupid Urza's Saga. Just tutor directly for the hammer, put it directly in play. Kebby's been playing Modern for 6 years. Tron never died. Even with 2 Modern Horizons, 2 sets. Only gets stronger. Nintendo. Want to buy Ragavan, but worries it will get banned. Feels like it's in every deck. Yes. And you should be worried it gets banned. So here's the deal. How badly do you want to win right now? That's the question. Like, let's say you knew you were buying this card for 6 months. And it's probably going to live a little bit longer than that. Like, it's... Maybe you... I would say you have to wait at least 8 months if it was even potentially going to get banned. And maybe it doesn't even ever get banned. But it looks like a card that would get banned. How valuable is it to buy this card for 8 months? That's how you got to think about it. Like, I don't think it's going to get banned, like, tomorrow. So there's a lot of other problems going on in Modern, but it does look like a card that eventually will be get on the chopping block. People like Decklist review. They like looking at different types of decks. It's a lot more fun to have a deck review live so we can interact and make suggestions. That's true, too. Like... People making people can make suggestions in the comments section, but you know, they don't get to influence the deck live, which is the point of Decklist review. The community, people. It's all about the community. I think Decklist review should be a one day a week maybe, where it's most of the stream. I feel it interrupts the flow of most days, so it just feels like such a hard break to something totally different. So it was like review deck D and R. Do not go with M, T, W, th, or F. Trying to find how it rhymes so we can like mix it in. But maybe that's how it should be done. Deck list review all day. And would we get through? We might get through less deck lists though. Maybe. Yep, Chief played my Bramble Elves list last year. Instant 5-0. Exactly. Inspiration came from deck list review. Has Belcher has more fire than the water of Merfolk? I guess so. It's dangerous. It's dangerous stuff. And speaking of deck list review, it's time to get into deck list review. All right, so if you've never done this before, if you're new to Coffee and MTG, go into my description. There is a link to the Discord. Join my Discord. There is a channel called Decklist Review. Go in the channel, enter the command !review deck space, give the URL to your deck list, and you'll be eligible at random. At random for Decklist Review. And did I go over Spencer's? I gotta go look at manage. Did I go over Spencer? I can't remember if Spencer Ward. Did I just completely ignore Spencer Ward's list? Hold on. Give me a second here. I'm pretty sure Spencer Ward paid for deck list review. Yeah, he did. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go out of my way to get this thing. I seem to have screwed up. What's the point of paywall deck list review when you don't even review the people's deck lists? Sorry about that, Spencer. So we'll have Spencer's deck list up in a second. I still can't play it until I get back from Vegas, but okay, so where is this deck list? Oh, maybe we did look at it. Is the Bourgeois Gods. Oh, forget it. I guess we did do this one. Right, we did look at this thing. Okay. Okay, so we'll I just play it later. It's just been a while. Yeah, we reviewed the Bourgeois Gods. Okay, I just forgot. Okay, so in that case, it's gonna leave a notification to remember to play the deck. Every day is just blurring into each other. All right, in that case, let's go look at some deck lists from Decklist Review. What do we got today? We got Infinitus with a message. What do we have here? A blue-black control. People love blue-black control. In what format? In Pioneer. Alright, this is a Pioneer blue-black control deck. So when we see things like the Torrential Gear Hulk, don't get concerned. This is not budget Snapcaster Mage. This is literally the Snapcaster Mage of the format. Narset, Parter of Veils, the Scarab God. Oh! Where's our Scarab God guy? Someone who's always asking about, hey, what do you think of the Scarab God? In Pioneer, it's great. Torrential Gear Hulk. Although I do have to admit, like, your win conditions are a bit clunky. Like, I don't mind having just 3 Torrential Gear Hulk as just your win condition, but... well, having a 1 random Scarab God is good, too. Blood Chief's Thirst, Thoughtseize, Languish. 4 Consider. Do you need Consider? Oh, you have the Gear Hulk, actually. So, yeah, putting a card in the graveyard actually helps. So, Fatal Push, Drown in the Lock, Sinister Sabotage, Dig Through Time, Commit/Memory. Shark Typhoon. This is another win condition. A lot of win conditions in this deck. Castle Lothwain, Castle Ventress, 4 Drowned Catacombs, 2 Fatal Passage, 2 Field of Ruins, 6 Island, 4 Swamp, 4 Watery Grave. So you have the 14 lands to make sure Drowned Catacomb is not too clunky. This is actually a really clean list. Drown in the Loch, Legion's End, Cry the Cranarium, Go Blank, 3 Mystical Dispute, Unmoored Ego, 2 Shadow's Verdict. Actually, this is really, really clean list. The only thing I would be slightly concerned about, and it's not a really big concern, is it may your curve might be heavy. And also, yeah, Consider and Dig Through Time work very well together. Like, there's a lot of really expensive cards in this deck, like Commit, Dig Through Time can be clunky. Torrential Gearhulk, Scarab God, Shark Typhoon usually eats up a lot of mana, although it can be any mana. You can just pass the turn. It's a lot of win cons for a non-Yorion list. You can ask for anything except Commander and Draft. I have received maybe 2 draft decks before. And I'm like, that's a great draft deck you got right there. Yes, you can even choose Standard and Historic if you want. Now this deck could run Poppet Stitcher. I think it has enough win conditions. How good is Commit? Put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library second from the top. Really good effect, really strong. And then there's Memory. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into their library, then draws 7 cards. Oh yeah, so you can really screw them with Narsat. This is clean. This is very clean. How many ways can you get Thoughtseize on turn 1 though? So no, actually. No. Swamp, Watery Grave. So your Thoughtseize are actually a little clunky. They're actually very clunky. And also your Fatal Push on turn 1 is very clunky. Is there any way we can fix this? Like, is there like a good enough mana in... is the mana good enough in the format? Hold on, what's Canister's... Canister, what's it called? Inverter of Truth deck. I just want to see the mana base, and it's an old mana base. So he ran 3 Choked Estuary. As it enters the battlefield, you can reveal an island or swamp card from your hand. If you don't, Choked Estuary enters the battlefield tapped. Drowned Catacombs, still ran to the Drowned Catacombs. Fabled Passage, Fetid Pools also comes into play tapped. So you ran 4, 6. So he himself also only ran 9 cards that could play turn 1 Thoughtseize. Okay, so it's just a problem you have to live with. I don't think Urborg is legal. Oh, pathways are possibly a solution. Possibly. Yeah, and then the pathways I don't think existed back then. So we could fix that. Maybe we could add some pathways to the deck instead of the Drowned Catacombs. And then that would be 4, 8, 12. But it's not bad. You know what? 12 might be good enough instead of the Drowned Catacombs. Because having access to turn 1 Fatal Push and turn 1 Thoughtseize is big. It's a big game. If you can get 14 black sources, that would be perfect. And maybe it's even cheaper than the Drowned Catacombs. I like these 2 cards. And you do need some permanents that can crack on the battlefield to activate the revolt, so I think this is okay as well. Urborg is legal? Do we need Urborg? And what's fortunate, nothing needs double blue by turn 2, so you can run. When did they reprint Urborg? Like, if it was part of the format all along. Like, why didn't Canister play it? Yeah, it's legal in Pioneer. I don't know, maybe one? Maybe one? Well, 1 over the Swamp. Or maybe Canister didn't want to fix his opponent's mana? Because there's actually no point to playing a Swamp over an Urborg. There's actually literally no point. Okay, yeah, we can have at least one. Okay, we can replace one One swamp with an Urborg. Because the card choices are strong. The card choices, I think, overall are very, very strong. There's nothing wrong with it. Just the mana base, which also looks pretty good. We could just refine it to make it a little bit better. Just a quick look at the sideboard again. Go blank. Target player discards 2 cards, then exile all cards from the target player's graveyard. This seems like a crappy way of removing the graveyard because it's at sorcery speed. I wouldn't mind if it's at instant speed. What matchup do you really want this against? But I guess you're doing it for the discard. So, whatever. Okay, so you discard, you make them discard a card and make them lose their graveyard. Mystical Dispute, Unmoored Ego, and Shadow's Verdict. Exile all creatures and planeswalkers with converted mana cost 3 or less from the battlefield, and all creature and planeswalker cards with converted mana cost 3 or less from all graveyards. Honestly, don't know what this is for, but it looks really expensive. But whatever. Crocs and Phoenix. I guess this also deals with Croxa. Okay, cool. Cool list. Nice. Nice stuff. Is there a blue-black? Is there like a blue-black deck in Pioneer right now? What do we have for control? There is Dimir control. Oh, they're playing with Censor? I don't know how control... Like, it's clear, based on even your list, that there's, like, so many good cards that there has to be an actual list. This is so different. This got 3rd place in a Pioneer Challenge. Power Word. Destroy target non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, non-dragon. Well, that's like all the creatures in Magic. Yeah, it looks like a top 10 deck. They are playing with Commit to Memory. So, like, even just looking at... this deck is a bit chunky, too. So I was about to criticize your deck being a little chunky on the top end, but so is this one. Like, this is a 4-mana spell. This is a 4-mana, 4-mana... 4 mana, more dig through times, Shark Typhoon, so it's a bit chunky as well. And this is like 6 mana. Okay, so your deck can go the long game probably. And castle that stuff. If they can do it, you can do it. I'll do my best, Brandon. I'll do my best. But at this point, and also, like, I'm gonna have such bad sleep the day before. Or probably, because it's going to be a miserable day going to get to fly there. At this point, I'm like, I'm not there to... I'm going to try to win in Vegas, but, like, I'm going there, like, almost as, like, a vacation. If I can even call it that. Amadex. You're the next contestant on Decklist Review. Pioneer is a chunky format. Why not Ashok Dreamrender over Go Blank? Probably because they wanted to just discard the cards. Ashok actually is a lot weaker in Pioneer because the fetching doesn't matter nearly as much. At least in Modern you can hit... I have nothing against Ashok, by the way. Like, that could be a really good card. But, anyway, they chose Go Blank. I'm assuming it's a combo card. It's like an anti-combo card. Alright, we got a budget Hammer Time deck. I'm surprised more people aren't trying this, like budget Hammer Time. Although I don't know what's the point of playing Duress. Do you really have enough ways of adding black mana? Memnite, Ornithopter, Core Duelist. As long as it's equipped as Double Strike. That's not a bad budget option. Ingenious Smith, Pure Steel Paladin, so you can still run the Paladin. A Emerge Unscathed. Target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. You have Rebound. Open the armory. Search your library for an aura or equipment card. Reveal it. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Excellent, like, budget Steel Shaper's Gift. Colossus Hammer. 3 Springleaf Drum. 2 Cranial Plating. 2 Nettle Cyst. Sigarda's Aid. It's actually basically, like... It's basically a normal deck. 20 Plains. There's gotta be, like, some extra card you could play in here. Like, I always cringe at, like... 20 Plains, really? You can't even play, what's it called? Like, even a Field of Ruin? Is Field of Ruin expensive? Maybe it is. That's pennies. Pennies, people. Where's one Field of Ruin? It can't... Well, I don't know. Maybe it can screw you. Anyway, Blossoming Calm. You gain Hexproof until your next turn, gain 2 life. 4 Duress. What the hell's with this? 3 Oust, 2 Soul Guide Lantern, 3 Disenchant. Like, okay, so you have to get rid of this. Do you have any way of casting this outside of the 3 Springleaf Drum? I don't think so. This is pointless. Hey, Infinitus. Didn't mean to put the duress. Well, you did. So what would you have instead? I mean, the simple solution is just add one of all these other cards if they're good enough. Or do you really want to have some anti combo, like an anti combo card? What's the white creature? You can only play 1 spell a turn. This is a budget deck. Do you have any idea how much Leyline of Sanctity costs? Oh, it's actually cheap. It's not bad actually. Oh god. I thought it was way higher. I totally forgot they got reprinted M20. This is pretty good. Anyone who wants to buy into these things probably should get it. Well, I guess $4 is not the largest crash from like $10 at its height, but no. This is when it got printed though. What was the OG one? No, hold on. M11 is the OG. Got reprinted a few times. See, yeah, this is what I had this stuck in my memory that it's like a $30 card. Oh, Archon of Ymir is not too bad. Right now you're just playing around with different sideboard cards. Play around all you want. Archon of Ymir is not too bad though. It's not the fastest card, though. Yeah, well, I thought it was a $30 card. Archon of Emiria. Ether Swarm Canonist? Is it either Sworn or Swarm? Sworn Canonist. Each player who has cast a non-artifact spell this turn can cast an additional non-artifact spell this turn. Actually, this, well, how cheap is this? This is not budget at all. This is $8. This is more expensive than the Leyline of Sanctity. Yeah, I was thinking of Eidolon of Rhetoric. Okay, someone suggests something in the side. I don't know what we want duress for. I guess against... Oh, you can't play Lurrus because you're playing with Nettle Cyst. I guess that's okay. But you don't have as much card advantage as other decks. It's possible that you should be playing with 2 more Cranial Plating. You should have Lurrus in the sideboard. It's possible. I don't know. Manatide. Boom. Ooh, Deafening Silence is an interesting one. How do I spell that? Being a streamer, you get to see how much, how well I can spell. Deafening Silence, 1 white. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell each turn. I don't know if that's good for this deck, because you do want to spew out a bunch of stuff, but maybe you just get ahead and then play Deafening Silence. I hate how Modern Horizons turned Modern into Modern Horizons the format. What's your opinion on it? You're right. You're right. That's my opinion. But the format, it's still diverse. The format's still diverse. The decks don't win on like turn 3, so like it's maintaining the turn 4 rule. And people still love it. What are all these cards? I don't even heard of some of these cards. Leonin Abunus. Oh, this is way too expensive. 4 mana for a... Like, we only have 20 lands in the deck. And 3 Springleaf Drum. Curse of Silence? Enchant player has Curse of Silence enters the battlefield. Choose a card name. Spells with the chosen name. Enchanted player cast cost. This is a great one. This is actually really good. Whenever enchanted player casts a spell with the chosen name, you can sacrifice Curse of Silence. I actually like this one a lot. It's better in Legacy than in Modern, but it's still very good. Oh yeah, Prismatic. Oh, but Prismatic Ending might be expensive. It's probably the most expensive uncommon. Or maybe not. Maybe it's Dragon Rage Chandler. According to this, it's like $2.73. Oh, it is more expensive. $1.74 to $2.73. Although it is relatively cheap. Well, you might want... Oh, yeah, then you just need the Exile. Yeah, you wouldn't get it very often. You would need the Springleaf Drum. Can we make room for Core Firewalker? Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the deal. We've got... We don't know what to do with this Duress. This fucking black card here with no black mana except the Springleaf Drum. So we can, like, change... It could be anything. We're just exploring options. So that could be, I would say, you know, you gotta play test, see what you're really weak against. Maybe Core Firewalker is your best option. Play Core Firewalker, and then when you get the hammer, put on the Core Firewalker. I mean, the Hammer Time player is really, sorry, the Burn player is really screwed. Just skip your Red Bull every week and get get one of those cards. It's budget. It's super budget. Yeah, I mean, no, technically we should still run Prismatic Ending. Or no, is Isolate instant speed? It is at instant speed. What would Hex Parasite do? I don't know what's the point of this one. I think if you play Ginger Brute, you would replace something like Core Duelist or something in the main deck. Which is not a bad... hold on, no, you need red mana, don't you, for Ginger Brute? Oh no, you don't need anything. Ginger Brute can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. Sacrifice, you gain 3 life. That might be better than Core Duelist. Because this doesn't have any, like, special evasion. I think evasion is very important. Well, I'm gonna leave the Core Duelist here because it's still a pretty powerful card in itself. But I would consider swapping with Ginger Brute. It's also an artifact, which pumps up Cranial Plating. Oh, Portable Hole's a good one. Yeah, that could be a very good one. Okay, we have a lot of options. Do we have any removal here at all? We do have Oust. Target creature in owner's library, second from the top, its controller gains 3 life. This might also not be the greatest card because you're giving your opponent life when you still need to push damage yourself. I love how relevant Ginger Brute is. Hold on, what's in a normal Hammer Time deck? Just out of curiosity. Ooh, was I in Modern already? Hammer Time. Like, maybe there's just some good sideboard cards. Oh god, this sideboard is very expensive. Oh, Onthin? Hold on, is this expensive? It's a little bit of money, and you have to exchange all your lands with snow-covered plains, but this would be a very good option for the deck. So maybe you invest like 20 bucks and you have like one of the best removal spells possible, and that would remove anything, and it would be way better than Oust. How expensive is this deck right now? You've already put in 100 bucks. So you add another 20. You have to because you got to upgrade all your plains to snow-covered plains, and I'm sure it's going to be like 50 cents a piece. Could be worth it, that's right. Pithing Needle, Relic, Silence. Oh, they're running Silence. That's interesting. So you hit them with the Silence, and then you just go all in. Because you probably have like a bunch of creatures out, and then after you play Silence, you're like, well, they don't know which creature you're going to put the hammer on. Defense Grid, Rest in Peace, Seal of Cleansing. Okay, I think that's about it. So there's a lot of options that you could try to exchange this Duress, and maybe you could exchange the Oust for the On Thin Ice, which I think is fine. And also consider replacing the Core Duelist with Ginger Brute, which sees competitive play. Like, I've seen Hammer Time decks play this card, and it's pretty good because it gets evasion, and it also pumps up your other cards as well. Seal of Cleansing over Disenchant is possible too, yeah. Can you get that with Open the Armory? Switch your library for an aura or equipment spell. But it's not an equipment. Can you search for it? What was... I'm just wondering, can you search for it in any way? You may reveal an artifact card from among them into your hand. No. Whatever. Whatevers. Anyway, good luck with the deck list. Awesome stuff. Well, that's it for Coffee and MTG today. Thank you very much for joining me. Remember, definitely going to be no Coffee and MTG on Thursday or Friday this week because of the Magic the Gathering Las Vegas. See you there for everyone that's going. But we are still going to be here for Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So be there or be square. We are... blah, blah, blah. What else? Oh, yeah. Love the show. You can support it on twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. You can support it on Patreon or can hit the join button on YouTube. So thank you very much for making me a part of your daily routine and making this morning so great. So take care. Keep brewing up those coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care, and I'll see you guys all next time.